Hello again, and thank you for joining this video. I hope you had a chance to watch the first video. All that is accessible in your YouTube options below if you didn't catch it. I should start off by saying that I'm putting timestamps on all this, so if you want to bypass the talking and get straight to the hebula and the hobula of the video, just hit the timestamps. You know, that's why I put them there. In the first video, I focused on one type of chord, mainly the minor sevens, or the minor types, the minor family of chords. This video is going to be a lot more dense, so I'm going to try to keep the talking, not necessarily to a minimum, but you'll see a lot of little edits. This video, we're going to talk about 10, let me check my notes, 10 chord types, specific chord types that you're going to see a lot. And I'm not talking about any particular style. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just talking about this is harmony that is everywhere and all kinds of things. There's a jazz standard that has these 10 types of chords that I'm going to talk about today, which is why I chose it, because I don't think doing a video for each type of chord is necessarily the way I want to go. So the tune I'm going to be using today is Nika's Dream by Horace Silver. I will have on the screen, I guess, a picture of it soon, but I just want to talk about the 10 different types of chords that you'll see in this tune. Here's a list of them. Minor major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, major 7, dominant 7 sharp 9 sharp 5, dominant 7 sharp 5, 7 sus or sus 7, whatever you want to call it, sus flat 9, half diminished or a minor 7 flat 5, and then a dominant flat 9 sharp 5. The A section of this tune has 6 chord types. Minor 7, minor major 7, dominant 7, major 7, dominant 7 sharp 9 sharp 5, and the dominant sharp 5. As you can see in the picture there. Again, I want to talk about the options, as I call them, that I use to navigate these sounds. An analogy I like to use when I talk about my options for playing on chords is like getting a Lego set. You got the picture on the front of the box, and this is like old school Lego, like back in the day. You had the front picture, which was what the instructions showed you how to build, and then if you flip the box over, there were other things that could be built with the bricks and the pieces included in the set. You didn't always use all the bricks and pieces to build those, but it was showing you that there were other options that got you the same result. A thing, you know, a Lego thing. And in these videos, I'm not going to tell you how to play. I just want to present, you know, the Lego pieces to you and a couple pictures that you can make with the Legos. A couple different chords, a couple different options for one chord, that kind of thing. So I'd like to run through each of these chords. I have pads set up with each chord type, and they correspond to the chords that are in the tune Nika's Dream that you see here up in the air. As I may have said, the A section has 6 different chord types. The first one you see there is a minor major 7. So the first chord, a B flat minor major 7, there's basically 3 options from which I will draw to play. First one is the very obvious choice of melodic minor. Second one is the same as I discussed in the first video of minor 7s, which is a major 7, sharp 11, sharp 9 from the flat 6. And you can call that F sharp or G flat. Go wild, you know. But you may get confused with my second option, which is going to be a major 7, sharp 11, sharp 9 from the flat 6, which in the previous video I did say, yes, that could be considered just the 6th mode of harmonic minor, but I don't think of it that way. I think of it as, in this case, a G flat or F sharp, major 7, sharp 9, sharp 11, because it allows me to concentrate on the notes that bring out the distinct tonality of thinking in G flat or F sharp, major or whatever. In this case, the major 7, sharp 11, sharp 9. The third option, slightly similar to the minor 7s, is using a dominant flat 9, but built from the major 7 of the chord. So if it's a B flat minor major 7, I'll be thinking of A7 flat 9. And yes, there are the other members of that half diminished family, but I focus very much on the dominant 7 flat 9, built from the major 7 of a minor major 7 chord. Stick with me. I don't know an easier way to say it. So let's examine those sounds with a pad. B flat minor major 7, B flat melodic minor, G flat major 7 sharp 11 sharp 9, and A7 flat 9. I'll start with 3 ideas outlining each choice very clearly, and then I'll play ideas that combine those so I can be a little more creative and free in my playing. And that works for both B flat minor major 7 and A flat minor major 7. You just got to do a little transposition of your choices. So the second chord out of the 10 is going to be a minor 7, same as the first video, except a couple little considerations of the harmonic environment in which I'll be using it, which in this case is Nika's Dream. And I found that adding the option of playing the major 7 sharp 11 from the flat 3 of the chord, so if we're thinking of A flat minor 7, we'll be thinking of B major 7 sharp 11, and also of E major 7 sharp 11 sharp 9. But also we'll be thinking of A flat minor 7 and all the other usual suspects that you might choose for that chord, like minor pentatonic from the 5th or the 2, and those types of things. They keep you inside the sound more. But the other one, the flat 6, will definitely stretch your ear on that. So I'll play the pad, I'll play the ideas separately, and then I'll combine them. The third chord type we'll talk about is just the straight dominant 7. A couple sounds I like to use for these are major 7 sharp 11 from the flat 7 and a minor blues built off the 6, which is a pretty common choice for that, I think. So if it's D flat 7, we're going to be using a B major 7 sharp 11, which is a carryover from the chord previously, and also a B flat minor blues. So I'll put the pad on, play the two things, combine them. Next up, we have the tried and true and trusted major 7 chord. And in this case, it's going to be G flat major 7. Over major 7 chords here, I like to play minor pentatonics from the major 7 and the major 3rd. In this case, it'll be F minor pentatonic and a B flat minor pentatonic. I also like to play with the major 7 sound from the 5. So we'll have a D flat major 7 sound to work with as well. Here's a pad, here's the three things, and then I'll combine them. This fifth chord type, which you'll see, is a dominant sharp 9, sharp 5, and in this tune it's going to be a C7 sharp 9, sharp 5. This one I want to slow the pace down. There's an extra step I do with this one, which incidentally will be the focus of the third video that I'm going to make. And that extra step is using a 2-5 in that chord. Not of the chord, but in that chord to bring out the sound of it. So my first go-to 2-5 for a dominant 7 sharp 9 sharp 5 is going to be a minor 2/5, so half diminished 7 to an altered dominant or dominant flat 9, whatever you want, is going to be a minor 2/7 that would typically go to the flat 6 of the dominant chord that I'm working that over. So if this is C7, sharp 9, sharp 5, the flat 6 would be A flat. So I'll be playing a minor 2/5 that in a lot of other situations would go to A flat minor or major, but maybe A flat minor, but it's just the 2/5. I'm not going to A flat. I'm just taking the 2/5, I'm cutting it, and I'm pasting it into this chord. For this C7 sharp 5 sharp 9, I will play a combination of the notes that are included in a B half diminished and an E flat altered. Typically, I'll play a flat 9, so E flat 7 flat 9 in there. But I'm not necessarily going to play 2/5 patterns. I'm going to use like it's a it's a plate full of Lego, and they all work, and you can just put them together however you want, right? All those notes in that minor 2/5 that would typically want to go to the flat 6, all those notes in that 2/5 work over this chord. So I just like to be creative about how I use them and put them together. That's part of the fun of playing bass. An easy way to think of it, and you can play your 2/5 licks, is just start a minor 2/5 pattern on the flat 7, right? So C7, sharp 9, sharp 5, start it on B flat, and that'll get you into the realm of that sound right off the bat. And of course, because this is an altered dominant, I also like to use the 7th mode of melodic minor. So I'm actually thinking of melodic minor starting on the flat 9. So I'll be thinking of D flat melodic minor. Very common way to get the altered dominant sound, in a very good way. But if you're not familiar or completely acclimated to the melodic minor sound or patterns, you can use a major scale over this chord. So if you start a major scale now this is counterintuitive, from the major 7 of a dominant 7, sharp 9, sharp 5 chord, so in this case it'll be B major 7, you also get those sounds. You get pretty deep inside the sound. Just don't hang on B too much, and I'll demonstrate that, you'll see. So you got a minor 2/5 built off the flat 7. You have melodic minor from the flat 9. And you also have a major 7 from the major 7. So you got B major 7 or, if you want, D flat melodic minor. I'll throw the pad on, I'll do the 3 options, and then I'll combine them. The last chord type we'll look at for the A section is a dominant 7 sharp 5. The three options I like to use to navigate the sound of a 7 sharp 5 chord are playing a minor 7 sound built on the perfect fourth. So if we're dealing with F7 sharp 5, I'm going to be playing around with a B flat minor sound. I also like to use major 7 sharp 11 from the major third, so A major 7 sharp 11. And because essentially it's an augmented chord, I'll play around with an augmented sound in triads built from the root, the third, and the sharp 5, so from F, A, and C sharp. I'll throw on the pad, do the three options, mix them up. Moving on to the B section, you see that there's a lot of chords, but we've covered a lot of those in the A section. So we just need to look at 4 more different chord types. Those 4 chords are the sus chord. Now, in the chart it says 9 sus, but it could be 7 sus. I put that on there because I like the way it sounds better when you're messing around with it. But you basically have a 7 sus, and then you have a sus flat 9. You got your half diminished, and you have a dominant flat 9 sharp 5. So starting with the sus chord, here you see that it's an A flat sus. And you could say 7 sus or 9 sus. These options work over both. The options for the sus chord that I like to use are a major 7 from the flat 7, also a major 7 from the flat 3, and sometimes I'll mix a major 7 from the 4th, but that depends on how much time I have to play the chord. But typically it's going to be a major 7 from the flat 7 that I focus on for that chord. It's a beautiful sound and it brings it out nicely. I have a pad set up. So I'll play those 3 options. Major 7 from the flat 7, major 7 from the flat 3, and major 7 from the 4th. So in this case, A flat sus will be doing a G flat major 7, we'll be doing a B major 7, and a D flat major 7. I'll play the 3 sounds separately and then combine them. Second new chord for the B section is going to be the sus flat 9, which you'll see there in the second measure, second chord of the second measure of the bridge. In this case, it's A flat 7, flat 9 sus, or sus flat 9. The options I like to use on sus flat 9s are melodic minor from the flat 7, so in this case, A flat, it would be a G flat melodic minor. I also like to use the minor blues from the flat 7, so G flat minor blues. And to mix things up, I'll also use an augmented vibe similar to the dominant sharp 5 chord, but I'll think of that from the flat 9. So I'll be thinking of triads from major triads from A, C sharp, and F, which are the same triads you'd use over the F7 sharp 5 incidentally. So here's the pad, the three options, mix them up. We're almost there. 2 chord types to go. Second to last is half diminished chord. The options I like to use, and in this case we're dealing with an F half diminished, is I like to think of it as the 6th mode of melodic minor. So I'll be thinking of a melodic minor from the flat 3. You do the math, you realize that F is the 6 of A flat melodic minor, so an A flat's the minor third, so A flat melodic minor. I also like to use a major 7 sharp 11 from the sharp 5, so that's a B major 7 sharp 11 for the F half diminished. And I also like to use the tried and true, as you're probably starting to figure out, the half diminished scale stuff. So dominant 7 flat 9, but I'll build that or play that from the 2. So it'll be G7 flat 9. And the other 3 members of the flat 9 family that exist in that, so G 7 flat 9, B flat 7 flat 9, D flat 7 flat 9, and E 7 flat 9, those also work very nicely over that. But I'll concentrate on the one that's built on the 2 of the half diminished chord. So I'll play a pad, I'll play the 3 options separately, then I'll mix them up. The last chord type that we'll talk about in this is the dominant flat 9 sharp 5. And I like to make a distinction between different types of altered dominance. You could play the altered scale or the 7th mode of melodic minor overall altered dominance and get a beautiful result. And I use that absolutely. But when I have the chance, I really like to make the distinction between them. So with this chord, the dominant flat 9 sharp 5, it appears in two different forms in the B section: A flat, flat 9 sharp 5 there in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th measure, second chord of the 6th measure, and also the last measure of the B section, which is F 7 flat 9. But the pad is A flat 7 flat 9 sharp 5. So over a dominant flat 9 sharp 5 chord, it's actually, for me, the easiest and most melodic of the of the altered dominant options. I think of one option for that, which is I just play in the major key center that is a half step below that. So a half step below A flat is G, so I will be playing G major. I'm not playing G major, but I'm playing things that bring out the sound of G major. And one of those things, which is a similar approach that I take to the other altered dominant in this tune, the sharp 9 sharp 5, is I will think of the notes that exist in a 2-5, and in this case a major 2-5, so minor 7 to just a dominant 7, that would go to G major, so A minor 7 to D7. And I'll think of those notes, I'll take them apart, and I'll rearrange them. But I'll also play G. But basically I'm playing in G major. So whatever that means to you. Does it mean a G major scale? Absolutely. Does it mean 3-6-2-5 in G major? Absolutely. And if you wanted to take it more out, you could do all kinds of things, but I'm just thinking of G major, and it really brings out the sound of the dominant flat 9 sharp 5 chord. So for A flat 7 flat 9 sharp 5, I'm going to be thinking of G major. Ideas in G major. Here's the pad. Here's the sound. With all these chord types, with the 10 I just talked about, I want to reiterate that these are options to more or less satisfy the equation of the given chord. That's the way I found works best for me with improvising. Yes, it is an extra step of thinking, but no more an extra step than any other way of thinking about improvising, because you have a chord and then you have to figure out which sounds satisfy the equation in the way you want it to sound and come out. And often it is a combination of things. How this concept of options, of different types of harmonic sounds over a given harmony, how that works for me with the options and concepts I'm talking about is that it works in every musical situation I've been able to use it in. But ultimately, when you get together your options in your chords, you can focus a lot more on phrasing and rhythmic concepts or stylistic or whatever you want to focus on. In the end, you can then focus on the other aspects of music that are relevant to whatever situation you're in. To demonstrate how this works in various situations, I'll do a slow ballad kind of version on Fretless, and I'll do a medium up tempo swing thing on upright, drawing from the same options. Some I'll use more than others, some I'll use less. In the ballad situation, you got more time to use more things. And at a faster tempo, you gotta be quicker to the draw on what you pick and maybe edit what you use a little more for even compositional cohesiveness, in your playing, which is something to consider. In these playing examples, I don't have really any plan other than I know how long the tracks are. The ballad is 1 chorus, and the up-tempo is 3 choruses with a little coda. I'm just going to play and have fun, using these options. And I hope you enjoy the demonstration. So we got 10 new chords and many more new options to consider. In my next video, I'm going to focus on 2/5 progressions, but not 2/5s like you might think that jazz 2/5s, but not 2/5 progressions like you might think. It's not a bunch of patterns. It's those kind of minor 7 dominant or half diminished 7 to alter dominant combinations that can offer you solutions to chords, especially the dominant chords, but they're also really good in anticipating chords and getting to chords, and there's several types of those that I'll discuss and how I like to use them. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something from it, and stay tuned for more.